Welcome to Face to Face, connecting theater makers to the public, a program from the Legacy Theater and socialdistancetheater.org.
Hello, I'm Colin Sheehan, and welcome to another episode of Face to Face. Today's guest made his Broadway debut as Larry the cameraman in Groundhog Day the musical. Please welcome Vishal Vaidya.
Hi.
Did I get it right?
You did get it right.
Oh,
Good.
thank God. I was so nervous. Where are you? Where are you quarantining? How are you holding up?
So I was in New York until about a month ago, and now I am in DC, where I am sort of playing pod mom for my niece, who's doing virtual schooling here. So I'm in DC right now.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
When did you realize that you wanted to become a performer, and what ultimately brought you to New York City?
Well, performing is sort of like in the Indian culture. I feel like there's so much dance and music and prayer, Hindu prayer. So I kind of was brought up performing in that regard. But when I wanted, I think, in middle school, I found my tribe of weirdos in the theater. And I think that's where the bug really hit. And I moved to New York in 2012. So 8 years ago.
Do you remember what your first musical or play was growing up? Being in
HMS Pinafore Jr.
Oh, a little
like
Gilbert and Sullivan.
Oh yeah, just a light.
That's hysterical. My first show was like 5th or 6th grade in The Mikado. I played a Japanese schoolboy.
Yep.
And then the next year I was Mendel, the rabbi's son, in Fiddler on the Roof.
Mm-hmm.
Very Irish Catholic, but it's the theater.
It's the theater. And yeah, my first paid gig was the Mikado, which I would never do now, but that was like 15 years ago, and I didn't know any better.
I know you went to American University in DC. What did you major in, and what was your college experience like?
Yeah, so I was at American, and I did a double degree in musical theater and international relations. So DC's, kind of where you want to be for that. And it was cool because I got to sort of get to know the DC theater community while I was in school, and sort of start working at regional theaters while I was there, like studio theater and only theater. DC has so many theaters. And so that was really great. So when I graduated, I actually stayed in the area for a while, and there's so much work. People here, that's where I am right now, but people in DC work full time as actors. I mean, people think New York is the only place to be, but there's so many great hubs, and DC is one of them.
Oh yeah, my friend Natasha Diaz works down there a lot.
I did my first union show with Natasha Diaz.
She's great. She did one of the Our Family Cruises with me, and yeah, there's a bunch of those pockets. Chicago is another one.
Totally.
That has great theater. So, as I mentioned, you made your debut in Groundhog Day, the musical.
Mm-hmm.
What was your Broadway debut like? What, the first time in front of an audience or your curtain call? What was that experience for you?
Well, our first, so I was really excited. It was our first preview. Yeah, I think we were gonna have a final dress, or I don't remember what it was, but we did like a free first preview. But 10 minutes in, the show had 5 turntables. It was sort of this every night getting through. It was like a technological miracle. And so 10 minutes into the first preview, the turntables malfunctioned. So we ended up just doing a concert, which was kind of great because it took some of the pressure off.
I heard about that story. My best friend Ray Wetmore did the props.
Oh, brilliant. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
That was a prop, like,
heavy.
So had so many props.
Yeah. Just like me, I know you wear many hats, and you're also a teacher, a voice teacher, and you teach people how to riff. Can you explain what riffing is and what your style of teaching is?
Yeah, so I teach riffing, which I sort of define as like unworded sung expression. So I don't think of it just as like, whoa, 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 that like 90s runs. I think of it sort of as like vocal exploration. And I think it's a really cool way for people to get to know their own instruments and sort of like apply different technical things they're working on. So, vocal technique and what I do in voice lessons is like extending your range and working on your like vibrato and your chest voice and all of that. And then riffing is sort of like a fun way to apply that. And also, now that so much musical theater is pop, everyone needs sort of a lot of versatility. So it helps with that too. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, who are some of your favorite Broadway riffers?
Broadway riffers.
Or popular.
Yeah. I would say pop riffers. I mean, I love Jasmine Sullivan and Brandy. I guess Brandy's a Broadway riffer.
Yeah, Chicago.
There's a video she had on her Instagram, and she was like, they won't let me sing it like this in the show, and then she did a whole, I forget what song it was from Chicago, but she did her own rendition backstage in her dressing room, and I was like, this is the content I love.
Yeah. Well, in doing my research on you, I know that you are an ambassador for Broadway's Babies. What exactly is Broadway's Babies?
So Broadway's Babies is this amazing arts education organization. It's a nonprofit that started only 4 years ago, but they've expanded rapidly. And essentially what they're doing right now is providing the arts programming for a lot of schools and institutions that don't have it. So in New York, that means providing free like music, theater, and dance classes for over 10,000 students at 23 different urban assembly schools. They also have programs in Haiti and in India, and there's more to come. It's really wonderful to work there because arts education is actually a privilege in most places, and a lot of people don't have it. So it becomes this systemic issue of the people who get to do theater are the people who have access to that, or people exposed to it. And I think even if you're not going into theater, theater gives you so much: leadership skills, community, confidence, just putting on like a character, can give you so much life. It teaches you empathy. So I think those skills are so necessary, and dance puts you in your body and can give you confidence in that way, so I think it's really important that everyone has access to it, and Broadway's Babies gives that to people who otherwise wouldn't have it.
It sounds like a very rewarding group to be involved with.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So in doing these interviews, I ask all of these actors and performers and theater makers if they have a memorable audition. Good, bad, ugly.
Yeah, so I auditioned for, I guess I can say the show, for My Fair Lady a couple of times. And this last time the last time I went in, which probably was the last time, because they were probably like, that guy, no. So I was really excited. I was very prepared. And I was doing the scene where to sing On the Street Where You Live, and comes up to Eliza's house and asks the police officer where her house is. And the reader pointed, so I'm facing everyone in the room, the director, casting. They have a video camera in one corner. The reader was in front of the camera, and he points that way. So I just asked where the house was, and he said that way. And so I was just like, okay. And then instead of thinking, I need to fix this and face the team / camera and everything, I just did the whole scene like this, which was...
You're like, I love my profile.
I committed, and I tried to open up, but I was like, oh man, I totally did that. It was a little bit embarrassing, but also kind of hilarious.
It's a funny story to have, to be able to tell.
It was good. The wall really liked it.
Here on Face to Face, we like to give our viewers a little peek behind the curtain. So I'm going to ask you some questions to get the inside scoop. What was your worst on-stage mishap? Doesn't have to be on Broadway, could be anywhere.
Yeah, my worst on-stage mishap, I think, was doing Rent, and I played the waiter.
No,
And
please no, not tonight. Please no, Mr. Can't you
yeah,
go.
that part. So but it was the so that's 5 miso soup, 4 seaweed salad, 3 soy burger dinner. So someone did someone had written me a note like as a joke, and it threw me off. And I started with the uh, so that's 5 miso soup. Wait, now I can't even remember what it is because I basically started with like seaweed salad. So I was like, so that's 5 seaweed salads. And I just blanked, and everyone just started laughing at me, and I got flustered that I left. And then I came back, and everyone was still laughing at me, and it was horrible.
And it's not like it's a show that no one knows.
Right. Everyone knows every word. So that was good.
Do you have a favorite on-stage moment?
Favorite on-stage moment? Oh, so many. I think the first time, so I did the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee at Ford's Theater. And I think, about a week in, when I sort of settled into it, not settled, but, like really like felt the world of the show coming together. There was a moment standing center stage, winning the Spelling Bee as William Barfay, where I thought that was a pretty cool sort of like meta moment. Yeah, I liked, that whole experience, if you know that show, it's just genius. Yeah.
I was actually supposed to direct that in May, but sometime.
Is there something going on?
Right? A global pandemic.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite backstage moment? There's lots of choreography backstage too, between stairs and quick changes. And do you have something that you want to share with us?
Groundhog Day, if the show was wild on stage, it was 10 times crazier backstage, because it repeated itself all the time. Every prop and every costume piece and every actor and every set piece had to be reconfigured multiple times throughout the show. So people would be running over set pieces as they were moving the other way. And there was one time I was supposed to have a reveal at the end of the show with like a fancy tux, and I think there was a substitute dresser one day or whatever. It didn't track for whatever reason, but it's like this big thing. So I had a jacket, and I just had the bow tie, but it was, quick rig. So it's just, a sleeveless tux thing. There's no, you don't have time to put on the whole thing. So it's cut at the sleeve. So I can't show that. That becomes a different, that's like Chippendales or something. That's a different show. So I kind of buttoned it up, and instead of taking off the jacket, I was just sort of like,
hey, you recovered.
Yeah, because
all that matters.
Those quick changes were so wild anyway. You would barely make it in, normal circumstances. So
every performer has a dream role. Do you have a dream role that you hope you will play one day?
I think because I have not felt like historically like I belong in the canon, I've been lucky to do a lot of developmental work. And so there are a bunch of shows that I want to see happen that I've been working on. One of the shows that I was supposed to do was this really brilliant new musical called Letters to the President. And it's actually a commission piece. So the sort of head of it is a dramaturg, Jessica Kokoska. And she's sort of woven together all of these letters and correspondences with presidents and citizens. And it's sort of American history through that lens. So I was really looking forward to doing that. So that is a dream show of mine.
That show sounds amazing.
It's really brilliant. And it's not just one composer. It's all of these amazing musical theater composers that everybody who loves musical theater loves, Anna Jacobs and Ariana Afsar and Nick Blaemire and Mark Sonnenblick, all of these wonderful composers. It's pretty stellar.
Do you have a dream role that you'd love to play one day of the opposite sex?
Of the opposite sex? What is a dream role of the opposite sex? I would love to play a belting Mrs. Pennywise in Urinetown. town. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a privilege to pee.
it is a privilege to pee.
I know that when you're in a Broadway show, many celebrities are in the audience and come backstage. Do you
Mhm.
have a celebrity encounter or someone you've worked with, a story you'd like to share?
Um, let's see. I guess I was doing a workshop with David Hyde Pierce, and he's very famous. This was after he had done Hello Dolly, and I sort of I try not to. I mean, I try to engage as a human, but it's always like you don't want to impose on anyone, and people are working. You're at work. But during lunch one day, he just came over and he was like, "Do you mind if I sit with you?" And he was just like the nicest, warmest person to be in a room with and to lead a room, because celebrities, if you're working on something, they sort of carry the energy, and that can make or break a process. And he was so just like warm, and it was a great like sort of 4 weeks of working on this thing we got to do.
Okay, last question. If you could have dinner with 3 different people, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Ooh, 3 people dead or alive. Okay. Do they have to be celebrities?
No.
Okay. I mean, my grandmother passed away a long time ago in 2007. My mom's mom, she was pretty wonderful. It'd be great to have dinner with her again. And oh my gosh, it's really, that is a very wide open thing. I guess I've been working on another musical, tying it to musical, about Mandela, Nelson Mandela. And so I would say he would be someone that I would want to get to talk to. And right now, just picking Governor Cuomo's brain, maybe. That would be great.
Good answers.
That's
Good
my-
answers.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for making the time to do this interview today. We hope to see you soon at Legacy Theater, and we'll see you on the next episode of Face to Face.
Thank you for joining us on Face to Face. We would like to thank our sponsors, Oak Tree Development and the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven, and Brad Ross for the themed music. You can follow us on legacytheaterct.org.